A very, very fantastic afternoon and welcome back to the program. This is the touchline. If you're just tuning in, we're happening on Y254 12 to 2. Maxwel Wasike alongside Robert Osoro is just back from the location where he was doing some epic work, giving us the actual feel of the drivers set to participate in the 47th edition of the Concours de Logans lined up next weekend at the Ngong Racecourse. Of course, drivers there showcasing their iconic cars and motorbikes, and Osoro Robert gave us a detailed and comprehensive update. But how do you feel coming from the location?
Well, what can I say? It was my first time to be sitting in an Alfa Romeo pre-1980. It's a classic car, it's an Italian model, and just feels fantastic being there. Then the other one was a Volkswagen 1968 Combi, one of the best cars. Like, if you want a car, go for the vintage, is what I can say.
And your passion for the cars has been so much unmatched and very unwavering. This event lined up for next weekend. Are you attending? Have you confirmed your attendance already?
I will be covering it live.
And you know, one Peter and I told me that it's just a stereotype that those events are meant for punky and classy people. So you can make your way from your...
I don't understand.
You are good.
It's good cars. 140,000. That Gulshan bought the Alfa Romeo at 140,000. Look at it now. If he's going to sell it, he's going to sell it more than 2 million. The other guy, when he took the other car, he said it was a junk somewhere in Madari. No one even bothered to know what is it. Now, if the person who sold that junk to him, he sees that car right now, he will not believe it. What is this? It's really true. But we'll be seeing cars that are more than 65 years old. You are in your mid-20s. If there's a car that is 65 years old, that's a grandpa of a car.
Of course, away from matters cars now to football, where we want to dissect both local and international football. And joining us on set is Crispin, Magak, reputable sports journalist, to analyze and give us in-depth coverage of what is expected this particular event this afternoon. Henry Omino, Western Steamer tactician, has been, I don't know whether it's elevation to technical director's position. Starting on that note, elevation or demotion?
Well, Kenya is a bit tricky when you're talking about the difference between the head coach and the technical director. Usually, going by experience and what we've been seeing all through, when you are elevated in quotes to be the technical director, it's like you're paving way from the club. So, and also looking at the performance, Western Steam has not done well this season. So it means that for me, I think the club is just getting rid of Omino.
Also, Robert, there has been this talk about the position of a technical director, that it is ceremonial and you can't stamp authority when you're in charge of a team as a technical director. What do you make of the position and its powers?
The way you have said it, I think it's ceremonial, because we saw it happen with Zico when he was at Posta Rangers. He left from being a coach to a technical director position, and in a matter of time, we saw him leave to be an assistant coach at Gor Mahia. That role in Kenya has not been defined enough for our coach to have a technical director, because we need to know what the role of Andrew Mino will be. What will he be doing? What kind of, how is he going to liaise with the coach to know who are you bringing on board, who are you not bringing on board in the transfers, or are you the one in charge of everything? The coach is just taking decisions from you and all that. So it's something we don't know about. And at the end of the day, you might just say it was Western Steamer trying to give him a job of the years he has spent at Western Steamer. They just don't want to do away with them. And then right now, Henry, I think, had exhausted everything he had with Western Steamer. They are still in the relegation battle, and if they have to get people to fight for them in the relegation battle, I think the start was, let's get a new coach. And let's hope Robert Makumbi, the former Mbarara FC tactician, can come in and do something for Western Steamer, because as the momentum is going right now, Western Steamer might be relegated.
Of course, talking about top-tier fixtures, several matches lined up this weekend. Tomorrow especially, Rangers playing Ulinzi Stars, Bandari FC locking horns against Zuke Richo, then Chemilin playing host to Nakumatt FC, the newly promoted team, and Leopards tussling it out against Kakamega Homeboys in what appears to be a Western derby. Nzoia against Muhoroni Youth, Tusk FC playing against Mathare United, then Western Steamer of course also plays against Sony Sugar, the team with the new coach Western Steamer, in Henry Omino being elevated, or rather demoted to technical director's position. Of course, they will be taking on Sony Sugar. Then Thika United against Gor Mahia. This afternoon, only one fixture.
match,
Kariobangi Sharks against
Sofapaka.
Sofapaka at
Yes.
Kenyatta Stadium in Machakos.
Sure,
Your
sure.
expectations?
Well, I think Kariobangi Sharks might run with this one because looking at their performance and the objective, the way they've been playing since they were promoted to the top tier league, they are quite promising. And Sofapaka started well, and at some point I thought they were challenging Gor Mahia, but the previous performance have not been so good. The only thing I can say is that this is a tricky game, that both teams will be going to come out with a win, but I think Kariobangi Sharks might run with it because they have the squad. They have been performing well, save for their striker, that is Masoud Juma, who will not play because he's accumulated the 5 yellow cards. But I think they still have many strikers. Talk of Matthew Odongo, talk of CHA. You know, they still have people who can still fit on the shoe and do some good performance. What I can say is that the goal difference will be a bit mean, maybe 1-0 or 2-1. Yeah.
It can also go either way because you see, the number one position seems to have gone.
Yeah, 9 points
it
gap.
seems that Gor Mahia is on another level. Now, Sofapaka, which is a number 2 on that low, Kariobangi Sharks, which is in top 5
yes.
right now. There's a bit of a tussle, and no one is going to give any points easily. Sofapaka might go all out, Kariobangi might go all out, and for me, I might give it to Sofapaka.
Of course, talking about the standings of 18 league team, Gor Mahia 15-time KPL champions are on top of the standings, having played 23 matches and accumulating 50 points in total, and they look like they're in good shape to take the title from Tusker, who are on position 8, not doing quite well, especially after being docked points during their fix against Zukericho that they had won, and of course having fielded players who lacked accredited Football Kenya Federation badges, and if word from independent disciplinary complaints committees anything to go by, then probably they were justified to be docked points, which might have been vital in their campaign probably to retain the title. Crispin.
Well, I don't think even if they had the points, they could stand a chance of defending the title, because they started poorly and then at some point they played well and then things started going bad. So I think Tusker, even if you look at them, even the mood of playing during their matches, it's like they've given up in
and for them it's all about the law. No one is going to do any other favor here. Tusker, why don't you just carry your players' cards if you are going for a match? You know there's a KPL fixture. Carry them. The referee is not going to be there and saying, hey, you did not carry your badges and all that, we can forgive you for this. He is going to follow the law. The KPL is there to follow, and from now on, they are 100% sure that next time they are not going to do that. And 3 points in the Kenya Premier is a big deal. So what happened to Gor Mahia last season? The 3 points that they were docked last season are the ones that made them roll to win the trophy. Now, Tusker, you don't have 3 points. You are still fighting in this league. You might not make it to the top the way you are supposed to, and those 3 points that might be the major difference in the log at the end of the day.
So for Parker, second on the table, of course, playing against Kariobangi Sharks this particular afternoon in one of the fixtures lined up this particular weekend. Of course, only one match being played today at Kenyatta Stadium, pitting Kariobangi Sharks, the newly promoted team, against Sofapaka, 2010 KPL champions. And remember, several matches lined up tomorrow. Gor Mahia playing Thika United, and Thika United under one Nicholas Muyoti, our good friend and former international of the national team alongside FC Leopards, has not been quite doing well, and probably they might be relegated. I don't know, from your own end, what do you think about the problem of Thika United, considering that they have a good sponsor?
I think it's the same problem that Mathare suffers. You make good players, you sell them. You need to retain your best players, because if you've been selling most of your best players, the likes of Jackson Macharia, who left, the likes of King Arthur, they'll be there 1 or 2 seasons, they leave. You keep your core players and you can win. Thika is, let's say, an academy in KPL, and them going against Gor Mahia. Dylan Kerr, the Gor Mahia tactician, has put a lot of confidence in the Gor Mahia side. They are playing different football. You saw from how they played in Tanzania against Everton. that confidence, they have brought it back to the Kenya Premier League, and they're pushing with it. They're not relenting anywhere. And if Thika are not going to be careful, and let's say they do a back pedal and go and defend, Gorma is going to hit them hard.
And you know, on our social media platform, someone is asking me via touchline Y254 on Twitter that probably the Chan update, that is Franklin Didier Drogba from Munami Mumias. I just want to get the update as far as Kenyan position with regards to its hosting of Chan tournament. We yet to get that brief from Confederation of African Football. We understand they will be addressing the nation this particular afternoon alongside Albert Mwachiro, Technical Director, and FKF Chairperson Nick Mwendwa, to give the official announcement on whether Kenya, having assessed the situation crisscrossing several parts of the nation, to assess the readiness of Kenyan facilities to host the tournament. But Crispin, Magak, as we wind up on this particular local segment arena, what do you make of Kenyan readiness to host the tournament, considering that yesterday they were at Kipchoge, Keino, and the county government has promised to pump millions of money towards renovation of the stadium, as others in Kinoru, in Meru?
Yes, just like I always say, I think Kenya has the slimmest chance possible to host the Chan, going by the preparedness, general preparedness. You know, 5 stadia were earmarked for this tournament, and so far we are only talking of 2. We are talking of Nyayo, we are talking of Kasarani. The rest, including Kipchoge Keino, including the one in Meru, the one in Machakos, we've not seen. We see a lot of talks, but less kind of work. Yeah. So I think for me, and just like I told you last week, CAF has been so lenient with Kenya.
Yes.
Coming to Kenya, doing the inspection, doing everything, making sure that giving us some hopes, you see. But I think in the end, we might lose this, just like we lost AFCON in '96 to SA, because you know, South Africa and Morocco have been on standby. So for me, I don't have any opinion.
And remember, right now as we are talking, the CAF competition has grown. We've got 24 teams in the Africa Cup of Nations. If you are hosting Chan, they are looking at you and saying, you can host the Africa Cup of Nations. I think we just need to go back to the drawing board. Let's just go back to zero and work this thing up. We need stadiums. We need good stadiums. We don't just need playing fields. We just need good stadiums. And we're not going to lie to anybody that we've got good stadiums. We just got Kasarani. Nyayo is just a trial and error. Let's wait the press conference and see if they give us that chance to host the event, which we'll be happy to host actually.
Let's wait for that confirmation this particular afternoon. Constant Omar, the second Vice President of Confederation of African Football, leading the delegation of continental body to oversee and assess the situation of Kenya hosting the tournament. Remember, Sekafa Senior Challenge Cup having been hinted earlier by FKF boss Nick Mwendwa that probably Kenya would also host the tournament and competition in November, but we will be keeping an eye on that and keep you posted as it happens. Probably get a confirmation from Nicholas Musonye, Sekafa Secretary General, to see whether Kenya can be lucky to host 3 competitions in a year, and quite successful ones: IAAF World Cross Country Championships in Kasarani, Sekafa Senior Challenge Cup November this year, and probably Chan early next year, in case that happens to pass. Anyway, away from that to international football, let's take a look on the calendar segment that highlights the fixtures lined up this weekend in various European leagues. Before we discuss matters European football, I know Osoro Robert will take you through the same, and you've been talking about Arsenal taking part in Europa League after 20 years of participation in UEFA Champions League.
Yeah.
But first, let's take a look at the calendar.
All right, we are back here for the Champions League analysis and everything that is happening on the European continent. Before we discuss Chelsea, Arsenal, and Manchester United, Everton, I've got to throw it back to Magak and ask him, what did you make of match day 1 of the UEFA Champions League? Manchester United is back after 644 days outside the Champions League competition. Arsenal is all the way in the Europa League. Chelsea is also back after 1 season in the cold. They thrashed Karabakh 6-0. What do you make? Manchester City also there for 4-0 against Feyenoord. Liverpool had a draw with Sevilla. Defending champion Real Madrid defeated Apollonikos. What did you make of match day 1 of the UEFA Champions League?
I think something that was so conspicuous is the fact that English Premier League clubs performed literally well.
Yes.
It's only Liverpool which drew 2-2, but you see a team like Chelsea, that's big win. Man U, Man City, you see, generally, apart from the draw, the 2-2 draw, all others won. And talking about Arsenal, the first time we are welcoming Arsenal on Thursday, so that instead of watching other things, we can also watch, have something to do on Thursday.
Yes.
Arsenal also didn't disappoint.
Yes.
And from the start, the 3-1 win, I think that was some good show. And let's hope, you never know, maybe they can also get to Champions League as independent candidates, like Man U did.
Manchester League.
Yeah,
Well, for me, I've just been saying, Jose Mourinho, when he came to Manchester United, he took the Europa League seriously, and it was more of a build-up competition for him.
Yeah.
I'm going to win this trophy, yes, but I also need to make my team. And when you look at the changes they did in the transfer window, bringing in the likes of Nemanja Matic, they have clicked. Now Manchester United is lethal. They might not be good in the defensive level, but going forward, Manchester United is a very good team. Now, heading on to matters of what is happening, we've got 2 key fixtures this weekend. That is Manchester United versus Everton, Wayne Rooney playing against Manchester United. What do you make of that? Because I know one of your favorite players is
Rooney.
Wayne Rooney.
Wayne Rooney, the 31-year-old, making a return. He's going with Club Everton from United, where, of course, he bagged several accolades with them, English Premier League and UEFA Champions League title. Probably the only title he hasn't won so far is a World Cup with 3 Lions of England. The last time they were crowned champions of World Cup was in 1966, and remember he quit international football, which means chances of him winning a World Cup with England, even as we get to 2018 World Cup in Russia, are scanty. But Wayne Rooney against United, when Everton visits Old Trafford, I think I'm rooting my support for Everton, and I will be a happy man if Wayne Rooney happens to score against Jose Mourinho's charges.
It might be a tricky fixture because Wayne Rooney is on the other side, Lukaku is on the other side. Is Lukaku going to forgive his players? Marouane Fellaini, are they going to forgive their other comrades at Everton?
No, I think, okay, it is a tricky fixture, owing the fact that players who are on the other side are now on the other side, but the truth stands that Man U is still so lethal. Look at the table, look at the matches they've played across the league, the Champions League. Man U are simply lethal, and Mourinho doesn't need any joke right now. He wants to do his best and probably maybe take the league from Chelsea.
And you're talking as if you are a diehard fan of Manchester United. The supporters of the team seem to be just stamping and boasting of how they are tipped favourites to clinch the title of English Premier League, considering that they have only played a few matches unbeaten, and that should not be a yardstick to probably assess their prowess in terms of winning the titles this season.
Okay, it might not be a yardstick, yes. Actually, one of the tests they got was against Stoke. They went and had a draw at the 365 Stadium against Stoke. Today's another test, Everton. Because last season, these are teams that have actually troubled Manchester United for them to get back to their glory days. If Manchester can manage to do away with these teams, then they are really good to go. You realize that? But the only problem for me I have with Manchester United is defense. They still don't look like a formidable title-winning championship. Yeah, they have conceded 2 goals. They have scored 10. But that defensive mechanism yet is still to say they have a defense.
But I think I can also say that why you see many Man U fans are just stamping is because generally, if you look at how Man U has been performing, especially under Mourinho, they have been a bit consistent. whether they lose or draw or win, they've been a bit consistent, and their psychological strength is a bit strong. They are a bit mentally strong compared to their competitors, especially the Everton. So that's why you see them yelling and talking and happy.
Let's hope that Manchester United guys can give people a break till the end of the season, see if they can win that one. But also, one of the best matches that is going to happen this weekend is between Arsenal and Chelsea. Now, what do you make of this? Will Arsenal be strong enough to play in the Europa League and play in the Premier League? Because now Chelsea played in the Champions League. They're welcoming them on Sunday. They have got good rest. Arsenal played on Thursday. They'll be playing on Sunday. This is a match made for both of them to test their strengths now.
Sure. Well, I think Arsenal, gauging Arsenal ahead of any match sometimes is a bit tricky, because this is, for me, I think is the most unreliable club in English Premier League, because you never know if they win today, you never know if they will win tomorrow. And then I'm also trying to look at their signings, what the players they signed versus the players Chelsea signed. You will have a vivid look that a conclusion that actually Arsenal did not do as per the expectation of their fans and even the league as a whole. So I think going to this match, Chelsea, to me, looks like they have an upper hand in this match.
Rio Ferdinand said recently that when he looks at the teams in England, one team that he has seen a very good balance with is Chelsea, defensive-wise, midfield and going forward. Even though they sold Nemanja Matic, they look to be a very well-balanced machine and can go ahead and play this one. Arsenal, for me, one of the major problems I have with them every day in and say is the transfer. Ivan Gazidis, the CEO, came out and said this one of the most successful transfer windows they have ever had.
Lacazette, you wonder.
So they got Lacazette, they got Kolasinac on a free, but they've got good players. You cannot deny them that. They have got good players, the likes of Mustafi. They have got good players. The thing is now, the character in the team has to start showing, because after they were defeated last week, before they went for the Europa League and won against Bournemouth, they had been defeated. And everybody was up in arms. Mesut Ozil was complaining the legends are castigating and criticizing us so much because Ian Wright was not leaving them sit. Thierry Henry was not having a joke with them. Vieira was speaking from New York and said, these guys just don't have the character to be in Arsenal shirts.
Sure.
Now, they have got to bring that character back. And if their character comes back, those players start fighting themselves. Like when you're in the dressing room, there's no coach. It's only the players who can make their character. And when they go out there, Arsenal is a formidable side.
But I think just to maybe the final remark from my end on the Arsenal thing, I think I have to blame the coach, Arsene Wenger. He's always supported the players. Even if they lose, he's always encouraged them, supported them. I think now
it's the hair dryer the way Ferguson.
I think it should be like when you do wrong, you are castigated, as in you face it. Yes. But for him, most of the time he pampers the players. So I think he should at least change his approach on the way he deals with the players. Yeah.
Well, that's another one for us, and let's hope it's going to happen like that. But it is a team now. Fans did not want Wenger to be the Arsenal manager right now.
Yes.
They have got him. He signed 2-year contract. And he's sure from his side that he can do something out of these players. Let's just go out and prove it now. That I've got my 2 years. I still know what I'm doing. I've given you your glory. Yes, we can be in transition. We might be suffering as a team. But given the chance I have and with the players I have, I can go ahead and give you something out. Because other teams in England at the end of the day are not sleeping, because when you look at it, Tottenham is up.
Yes.
They performed well in the Champions League themselves, defeating Borussia Dortmund. They are not going to sit down. They have brought that picture and I've remembered. If that is the man who's going to be the referee.
Tomorrow's Arsenal
against Chelsea.
Of course, it's a Super Sunday. Remember the United playing home against Everton, and remember Everton visiting Old Trafford with some of the former players now playing for the opponents, Marwan Fellaini and Romelu Lukaku having ditched Goodson Park to Old Trafford, and Wayne Rooney also on the opposite side playing now for Everton against his former side. We shall be looking forward to see whether Ronald Koeman will give him a slot in the starting 11 of that particular fixture. Of course, remember he had already hinted earlier that for the love and passion he has for his former employers United, he won't be playing against them, but we shall be looking forward to see how that pans out. It's been a solid show, the touchline, every Saturday 12 to 2. Make a day and book a slot to be with us. Your Saturday afternoon will never be dull and boring. Of course, the conversation continues on our social media platforms at Wasike Maxwel, at Osoro Bats, at the touchline Y254, and remember, interact with us and let's get this moving. But remember, 47th edition of Concorde Logans lined up this particular coming weekend at the Ngong Race Course. That is on Sunday, and Osoro Robert, of course, with his passion for cars, has already confirmed and booked his slot to attend with his friends as usual, and probably someone I might not disclose for fear of optimization. I'm trying to seek anonymity. Of course, it's been a pleasure having you on board. Always join us, same time, same place. Thanks to our technical team led by producer Joseph Temeje, who made this happen. Emmanuel Davula, Brian Kimani, Fadili Athmani, and Gijo Mondi, technical crew playing their role very well to ensure that...
Don't forget the Arsenal man, Frank Mesut.
Frank Mesut, and the man behind the Facebook page is the one who created it, having done exceptionally good work to ensure that this happens every Saturday. Crispin, Magak, your parting shot as we end this?
I think my parting shot is on still on Wenger. Yeah. He's learned how to deal with the fans. He knows the psychology behind them. Whenever he knows that when he loses, they will chant Wenger out.
Wenger out.
When he wins, they will chant Wenger in. So that's it.
Remember the early kickoff this particular afternoon, Crystal Palace against Southampton at 2:30 East African time. We're gonna end this, but respect and thanks very much for joining us. Let's do this again next Saturday, same time, same place. But remember to join Robert Osoro on Monday 8 during Spotlight on Sports on Y254. You gotta give your part.
Y254. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of your viewing here on Y254. Off the Hook starts right now.